The sun slipped low behind the Atlanta skyline, brushing gold across the rows of glass towers. Traffic hummed down I-75 like a restless pulse. But up on Pace's ferry, the world felt quieter, cleaner, richer, and untouchable. Zaria Coleman stood on the edge of the immaculate marble steps, clutching the strap of her worn leather purse. She'd never been this far into Buckhead before. The street smelled of jasmine hedges and new money, and even the air felt heavier, like it knew it didn't belong to everyone. She was here for a job. Housekeeper. Private estate. Confidential employer. The kind of posting that came with a non-disclosure agreement before a handshake. Zaria had almost turned the offer down, until her landlord taped another eviction notice to her door. She took a deep breath and pressed the doorbell. The door opened almost immediately. Standing there was a tall man in a gray vest and fitted slacks, skin smooth as mahogany and eyes sharp as glass. "You must be Miss Coleman," he said in a deep voice. "I'm Carter, Mr. Braxton's assistant." Carter's tone was polite, but his expression said, "Don't mess this up." Zaria nodded. "Yes, sir. Thank you for... Come in." She stepped inside, her shoes silent against the white marble floor. The place looked like a dream someone had designed with too much money and too little warmth. Clean lines, glass walls, and a piano no one played. A portrait hung over the fireplace. A black man in a tailored suit, dark eyes, a half smile that felt like a warning. "That's him?" Zaria asked softly. Carter followed her gaze. "Mr. Braxton. Yes. Your boss looked like he eats pressure for breakfast." Carter almost smiled. "He does." Darius Braxton was an Atlanta legend, a billionaire tech investor who built his first company from a college dorm. The kind of man the news couldn't stop calling enigmatic and unreachable. But that night, when he finally walked in, Zaria didn't see the headline version of him. She saw a man who carried silence like armor. "Ms. Coleman," Darius said, his voice low and even. "You've worked in private homes before?" "Yes, sir. 3 years for the Kingsleys in Midtown." He studied her a moment too long, as if weighing more than her words. "Carter, give her the tour." "Right away, sir." Zaria followed Carter through rooms that felt more like galleries. No fingerprints, no clutter, no life. Then, halfway up the sweeping staircase, a door creaked open at the end of the hall. A little girl peeked out. "Amira," Carter said quickly, his tone tightening. "Back to your room." The girl frowned. "Who's that?" "This is Ms. Coleman," Zaria said gently, lowering her voice. "I'm helping take care of the house." Amira smiled shyly, her curls wild around her face. "Daddy don't like people touching his stuff. Maybe he just needs someone who knows how to handle it right," Zaria whispered back. The child grinned. Then, a sharp voice cut through the air. "Amira." Darius stood at the bottom of the stairs, his expression unreadable. The warmth that flickered in his eyes when he saw his daughter was gone by the time he looked at Zaria. "She's supposed to be asleep," he said. "Yes, sir," Zaria murmured. "Carter, take her back." Zaria watched Carter guide the girl upstairs, then turned to Darius. "She's sweet. Reminds me of my niece." Darius's jaw tightened. "You're here to work, Ms. Coleman, not to get personal." She felt her face heat. "Of course, sir." But even as she nodded, she couldn't help thinking how lonely his voice sounded. That night, when the house had quieted, Zaria wiped down the kitchen counters, humming to herself. The marble gleamed under the soft pendant light, but her reflection in it looked tired, eyes lined with stories she never had time to tell. She heard footsteps behind her. "You sing when you clean," Darius said from the doorway. She straightened. "Habit, I guess." "It's nice." She blinked, surprised. "Thank you, sir." He stepped closer, sleeves rolled up, expensive watch glinting under the light. "Don't call me sir. It makes me sound like my father. What should I call you then?" "Darius." The word lingered between them. For the first time, he smiled. Not the practiced one for cameras, but something real. And it did something to her heart she couldn't explain. Over the next few days, Zaria learned the rhythm of the Braxton mansion. The quiet hours, the strict routines, the way Darius avoided eye contact when Amira laughed. He worked long nights in his study, pacing, phone pressed to his ear. Once, she overheard him say, "No one can find out about that file, Marcus. If it leaks, everything's gone." The tone in his voice made her pause. She hadn't meant to eavesdrop, but curiosity has its own gravity. That night, as she folded laundry, she noticed something. A flash drive tucked into the pocket of one of his dress shirts. Out of habit, she set it aside. But when she saw the name written on it in silver marker, Project Phoenix, she froze. That was the same phrase she'd heard on the phone. She placed the flash drive on the counter and stared at it. "Don't do it, Zaria." But her curiosity whispered louder. She slipped it into her laptop. A folder popped up, files, contracts, names, and then a photo. Her breath caught. It was her, Zaria Coleman. A background check file dated before she even applied for the job. Notes. Possible connection. Verify family history. Her pulse thundered. Why would a billionaire run a private investigation on his housekeeper? The next morning, Darius was at the kitchen island sipping coffee, the picture of calm. Zaria approached carefully. "Good morning." He glanced up. "Morning. I was organizing laundry last night and found something in one of your pockets." He looked at her, still, sharp, unreadable. "And?" She held up the flash drive. "You looking into me for something, Mr. Braxton?" His eyes darkened. "You went through my things?" "I was doing my job. That wasn't part of your job." Their silence crackled like a fuse. "I just want to know," she said quietly, "why a man like you hires someone like me and then keeps a file like that?" Darius took a slow breath. "Because, Ms. Coleman, Zaria, sometimes the past isn't buried. Sometimes it knocks on your door wearing a uniform." She frowned. What does that even mean? He stood, towering over her, his voice low. "It means you should stop digging before you find something you can't live with." CTA number 1, midpoint. "You want the truth, Zaria? Then earn it. Don't just clean my house. Find out what's really hiding in it." His words hit like a challenge and a warning all at once. That night, thunder rolled over Atlanta. Rain smeared the glass walls of the mansion as Zaria lay awake, her mind spinning. She couldn't stop thinking about that file, about the way Darius looked when he said the past isn't buried. Maybe she wasn't the only one hiding something. Down the hall, a door creaked. Soft footsteps. Zaria rose quietly, peeking out her door. Amira was standing there in her pajamas, holding a stuffed bunny. "Baby, you okay?" Zaria whispered. Amira nodded. "I heard Daddy crying." Zaria's heart clenched. "Where?" "In his office." She hesitated, then followed the child down the hallway until she saw him, Darius Braxton, billionaire, stoic, untouchable, sitting alone at his desk, face buried in his hands. On the screen behind him was a photo of a woman. Zaria stepped closer, catching just enough light to read the name beneath the image. Aaliyah Coleman. Her mother. Her breath caught, her body freezing. How the hell did he have that photo? The air thickened with stormlight and disbelief. And for the first time, Zaria realized this wasn't a job. This was a setup. The night didn't end. It just changed colors. Lightning danced over Buckhead's skyline, painting streaks of white across the glass walls of the Braxton estate. Zaria lay awake in the guest quarters, heart pounding to the rhythm of rain against the window. Her mind replayed the moment over and over. That photo on Darius's screen. Her mother's face. Her mother, Aaliyah Coleman, dead for 12 years. How could a man she'd never met have her picture saved in a hidden file? She rose quietly, wrapping a thin robe over her shoulders. The house was dark, except for a soft glow from Darius's study down the hall. She hesitated at the door, then pushed it open just enough to see him still sitting there, jacket off, sleeves rolled up, head resting in his hand. The stormlight caught his face, strong, beautiful, and wrecked by something deeper than guilt. He didn't notice her. He was whispering to someone on the phone. "No, Marcus. It's not what you think. She doesn't know yet. I just need time." Pause. "I'm not hiding it. I'm protecting her. You know what her mother did." Zaria's stomach tightened. She backed away from the door, careful not to breathe too loud, and turned down the hallway, only to stop cold. Carter was standing there. "Couldn't sleep?" he asked quietly, eyes narrowing. She swallowed. "Just checking on Amira." He looked past her, then back. His tone softened, but his stare stayed sharp. "You seem curious about things that don't concern you." "I'm just trying to understand who I'm working for." He gave a short, humorless laugh. "That's exactly the kind of curiosity that gets people fired, or worse." She didn't flinch. "You ever think maybe people deserve to know the truth, Carter?" His jaw flexed. "Some truths ain't meant to be touched." And then he walked away, leaving her with nothing but silence and suspicion. Morning came with sunlight and the smell of roasted coffee. Amira's laughter floated through the kitchen as she drew on her tablet. Zaria forced a smile, pouring cereal, acting normal. But normal didn't exist anymore. When Darius finally came down, crisp suit, watch gleaming, the picture of control, she couldn't help noticing the exhaustion behind his eyes. "Morning," she said, testing his tone. He nodded. "Morning." Amira looked up. "Daddy, can Mr. Zaria come with us today? You promised to take me to the botanical garden." Zaria blinked. "Oh." Darius hesitated. For a moment, something in him softened. "All right. She can come." The drive to the Atlanta Botanical Garden was almost peaceful. Amira hummed along to Beyoncé while Darius stayed quiet behind the wheel. Zaria stole glances at him, his hands gripping the steering wheel, veins taut, jaw tense. "You always this quiet, Darius?" He smirked faintly. "Only when I'm trying not to say the wrong thing." "Then say it anyway." He glanced at her. "You wouldn't like what I have to say. Try me." He laughed once, low and humorless. "You sound like your mother." The words hit her like a slap. "My mother?" He cursed under his breath. "Forget it." "No, you brought her up. You tell me what you meant." He pulled the car over by the park entrance, exhaling hard. For the first time, he didn't look powerful. He looked haunted. "Your mother. She wasn't just anybody's area. She used to work for my family. Years ago, before I took over Braxton Industries. She was my father's executive assistant." Zaria frowned. "That doesn't explain why her photo's on your computer." He stopped himself. "She got involved in something she shouldn't have. Something that ruined lives." "What kind of something?" He met her eyes, voice low. "She tried to expose a deal my father made. A deal that could have destroyed the company and everyone tied to it, including her." Zaria's breath hitched. "You're lying." He shook his head slowly. "I wish I were." She turned away, staring out at the blooming azaleas beyond the window. "My mom wasn't perfect, but she wasn't corrupt." "I didn't say she was," Darius murmured. "I said she was brave. And bravery can look a lot like betrayal when you're on the other side of it." The rest of the day blurred between sunshine and awkward silence. Amira's laughter filled the spaces where words couldn't. But Zaria noticed things. How Darius softened around his daughter. how guilt shadowed every smile he gave her. There was love there, but also fear. By the time they got home, dusk had draped Atlanta in rose and amber. Zaria went upstairs to check on Amira, but found the little girl asleep, clutching her bunny. On the nightstand lay a photo frame, Amira as a baby, a woman beside her whose face was torn halfway out. Zaria froze. The remaining half of the photo showed Darius smiling, younger, freer. But the other woman's hand, still visible, wore a silver bracelet identical to one her mother used to wear. Her hands trembled. No way. Downstairs, Darius was by the pool, sleeves rolled up, staring into the water like it might answer something he couldn't. She stepped outside. "Why do you have my mother's bracelet in that photo?" He turned, startled. "What are you talking about?" "You heard me. Don't act like you don't know." He sighed. "Zaria. Don't Zaria me. You said she worked for your father. Why was she in your photo?" Darius ran a hand down his face, then met her gaze. "Because she wasn't just my father's assistant. She was the woman I loved before any of this. Before the money. Before the lies." The world tilted. Zaria stared, speechless. "My mother was with you?" "Yes," he said quietly. "Until she betrayed me." She took a shaky step back. "You're lying." "I wish I was. She stole something from me, Zaria. Something I never got back." "What could she possibly steal from a billionaire?" He looked away. "My future." That night, she sat in her room staring at the bracelet she'd found in Amira's drawer. Her mother's bracelet. Her fingers traced the engraving inside. 2 initials. DB plus AC. Her heart cracked open. She walked to the window, staring at the mansion glowing under moonlight. Every word he'd said replayed in her mind. Every stare, every moment of tension. It all had a reason. Maybe fate had brought her here not to work for him, but to face him. Still, one question burned. If he'd loved her mother, why hire her daughter under false pretenses? The next morning, Zaria entered his office. Darius was already there, typing furiously on his laptop. "We need to talk," she said. He didn't look up. "About what?" "About why you brought me here." He closed the laptop, slowly standing. "I told you. I needed help." "Don't play me," she snapped. "You investigated me before I even applied. You knew exactly who I was." He met her stare. "Yes, I knew." "Then why?" He stepped closer, eyes burning with regret. "Because someone's been threatening me with what your mother left behind, and I think you're the key to finding it." "My mother's dead, Darius." "I know, but her secret isn't." Zaria's pulse thudded in her ears. "What kind of secret?" He hesitated, then opened a drawer and pulled out an old photograph. Faded, creased. It showed a younger Aaliyah Coleman standing beside an unfamiliar man in a gray suit. "That man," Darius said softly, "wasn't my father. He was someone else entirely, and your mother died trying to protect what he gave her." Zaria's voice trembled. "And what was that?" He looked up, his eyes like thunder. "A key. One that unlocks everything I built. And now, someone wants it back." The wind howled outside as realization settled like ice in her veins. She wasn't just caught in a love story. She was trapped in her mother's unfinished war. And Darius, the man she was starting to trust, might be the reason it all began. Atlanta never really slept. It only shifted moods. By morning, the storm had washed the night clean, leaving the skyline glittering like it was trying to forget the secrets it kept. Inside Braxton Estate, the air felt heavier than usual. Zaria moved through the hallways with a kind of quiet purpose, no longer just the housekeeper. Every glance toward Darius carried the weight of unspoken questions. Every silence between them felt dangerous. He'd said her mother died protecting something. A key. But what if that key wasn't a thing? What if it was a truth? She couldn't shake the feeling that whatever her mother died for was still alive in that house. By mid-morning, she found herself standing outside Darius's locked study. Carter had left early for a meeting downtown, and Amira was at her piano lesson. The hallway was empty. Zaria's fingers hovered over the doorknob. "You're not supposed to do this." But curiosity wasn't something she could switch off. It was in her blood. She pulled the hairpin from her bun and worked the lock until it clicked. The study smelled faintly of bourbon and cedar. The large desk was spotless, except for a sleek silver laptop, a framed picture of Amira, and a file drawer left slightly ajar. She opened it. Inside were dozens of confidential folders labeled Phoenix, Asset Reclamation, Coleman, Marcus and Koi. Her pulse quickened. She lifted the one marked Phoenix, but before she could open it, a deep voice broke the silence. "Looking for something, Zaria?" She froze. Darius stood in the doorway, expression unreadable, his suit jacket off, shirt sleeves rolled high. She swallowed hard. "I wasn't... Don't lie." He crossed the room slowly, his gaze heavy on her. "You were digging again." "I had to." Her voice trembled but stayed steady. "You said my mother died protecting something. If this file has anything to do with her, it has everything to do with her," he said quietly. He walked to the desk, took the folder from her hands, and laid it flat. Project Phoenix wasn't just a business deal. It was a reconstruction plan. Data recovery for lost patents tied to a medical AI program. Your mother helped design part of it. Zaria blinked. "She was a secretary." "She was more than that," Darius said. "She was brilliant. She coded the security algorithm that made Phoenix impossible to hack. And when she realized my father planned to sell it to a private weapons firm, she tried to stop him." Zaria's breath caught. "And he had her killed?" Darius's eyes darkened. "He didn't have to. She ran. Disappeared. The night before she vanished, she stole the encryption key, the only one that could unlock Phoenix." Zaria took a step back. "You're saying she died because of you, because of your family. I'm saying she died trying to save people from us." Their silence hung heavy in the air, thick with memory and guilt. Zaria's chest ached. "So why hire me? Why drag me into this mess?" "Because whoever's been blackmailing me, they know about your mother. They sent me this." He opened his laptop, clicked a video file. Zaria's knees nearly buckled. The footage showed a dimly lit storage unit. A masked figure slid a flash drive into an envelope, then held up a note to the camera. "If you want the key, protect her." The timestamp was from 2 weeks before she'd been hired. Her voice cracked. "Who sent that?" "I don't know si se kutsasen. Mil si somta sekabon morjon. No sorot." But whoever it was knew you were coming before I did. Later that night, the mansion was quiet again, but the kind of quiet that felt alive. Zaria sat by the window in her room, staring out at the pool reflecting the city lights. Her mother's bracelet lay in her hand, glinting faintly. Inside, the engraved initials seemed to shimmer like they were keeping a secret too. She opened her laptop and searched her mother's old email address, one she hadn't tried in years. To her shock, it still existed. Password reset. Security question. Where did we first meet? Zaria smiled faintly. Her mother used to tell the story 100 times, how she met her father at the old library on Auburn Avenue. She typed it in. Access granted. Her breath hitched. Dozens of unread messages appeared, most dated years ago. But one stood out. Sent only 6 months before her mother died. From A. ColemanFreemail.com to unknown securemail.io. Subject, Phoenix Key. Encrypted, bypass complete. The message read, "If anything happens to me, tell Darius the truth. The key isn't what he thinks. It's a person." Zaria's hands shook. A person? The next morning, she confronted Darius again in his study. "You said my mother stole the encryption key. You were wrong." He frowned. "What do you mean?" "She didn't steal it. She became it." He blinked. "That doesn't make sense." "She created a living encryption, a biometric sequence tied to her DNA. That's why whoever's after you wants me." Darius's expression hardened. "Because you're her daughter." Zarya nodded slowly. "The key isn't on a drive, Darius. It's in me." For a long moment, neither spoke. The truth hung between them like a spark ready to burn. Then his phone buzzed. He looked down, and the color drained from his face. Zarya saw the message flash across his screen before he could hide it. From unknown. "We have Amira. Bring the girl, or lose everything." Everything froze. Zarya's voice came out a whisper. "What did you just get?" Darius's jaw clenched. "They have my daughter." "Who?" He stood, fists tight. "Marcus. Your assistant?" He nodded grimly. "He's been with me for years. I trusted him. I thought he was helping me protect Phoenix, but he was working against me the whole time." Zarya's chest tightened. "What do they want?" "They want you." The words sliced through the air like glass. Zarya took a step back. "No, I'm not some trade-off. If it means getting Amira back, I'll do anything," he said, voice cracking. "But I'm not handing you over. We'll find another way." She saw it then. The fear behind his strength. The man who'd once seemed untouchable was now breaking in front of her, fighting between love and survival. "You don't have to protect me, Darius," she said softly. "You protect people you love. I'm just the reminder of what you lost." He reached for her hand, gripping it tightly. "You're not a reminder. You're the reason I still believe I can be forgiven." Their eyes locked. The air between them hummed with something deeper than danger. And in that moment, when the world outside felt like it was collapsing, they kissed. Slowly. Desperately. Like both of them knew it might be the last thing that was real. But before the warmth could settle, headlights flashed across the window. 2 black SUVs pulling up to the gate. Darius's phone buzzed again. "You have 1 hour? Bring her to the docks? Alone." Zarya's pulse thundered. "They're coming." He moved fast, grabbing his jacket. "Pack a bag. We're leaving now." "Leaving where?" "To get my daughter back," he said. "And to end this." They drove through the Atlanta night, city lights smearing past the windshield. Zarya clutched the bracelet in her palm like a lifeline. "Darius," she whispered. "What if we don't make it?" He glanced at her, eyes soft but fierce. "We will. Because I'm not losing anyone else I love." And for the first time, she believed him. But somewhere deep down, she also knew. Some secrets don't stay buried. And by the time this was over, neither of them would be the same. Atlanta after midnight was another world. Quiet, electric, and humming with secrets. The skyline shimmered behind them as Darius's black Mercedes sped down the I-85, headlights cutting through the mist that rolled in from the Chattahoochee. Zarya sat beside him, clutching the bracelet in her palm, every nerve on fire. The message still burned in her head. "We have Amira. Bring the girl or lose everything." Her mother's bracelet, her mother's code, felt heavier than ever. Darius drove like a man fighting both the road and his conscience. "They'll expect me to come alone," he said. "And you're not thinking of doing that, right?" He glanced at her. "You don't understand. Marcus isn't bluffing. If he thinks I won't bring you, he'll..." Zarya cut him off. "He'll kill her either way. You said it yourself. He's not after your daughter. He's after me." He tightened his grip on the wheel. "You think I don't know that? Then don't make this mistake." He looked at her again, voice rough. You'd let them take you? If it means saving Amira, she said quietly, I'd do it. His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. You sound just like her. My mother? Yes. Always ready to sacrifice herself for everyone else. Zarya turned toward him. Maybe that's why you loved her. He didn't answer. The silence said enough. They reached the docks near the river, where the city's light melted into fog. A cargo ship loomed in the distance, its reflection rippling across the dark water. Darius parked the car, engine idling. Stay here. Not a chance, Zarya said, unbuckling her seatbelt. Zarya, I'm not your employee anymore. I'm part of this whether you like it or not. He looked at her for a long second, then nodded once. Stay close to me, no matter what happens. They stepped out into the cold. The air smelled like diesel and danger. A single figure stood under a floodlight ahead. Marcus, his tailored suit stark against the shadows. He smiled when he saw them. You actually came. Darius's voice was like ice. Where is she? Marcus gestured toward the warehouse. Safe, for now. Let her go, Darius demanded. Marcus shook his head. You know how this works. Trade first. Zarya stepped forward. You don't need me. Whatever you want, take the files. Take Phoenix. Oh, I need you, sweetheart, Marcus said, his grin widening. Your DNA is the only thing that can unlock the final sequence. Darius's eyes flared. You knew about the algorithm? Marcus smirked. Please. You think I stayed your assistant all these years for the paychecks? Zarya's heart raced. You killed her, didn't you? My mother. His smile faltered for the briefest second. Let's just say your mother made things complicated. She stepped closer, fury shaking her voice. You took everything from her. Correction, Marcus said, his tone sharpening. Your mother took everything from me. Phoenix was supposed to be ours, until she chose your family over the deal. Darius's voice thundered. You betrayed her. You betrayed me. Marcus shrugged. Business, Darius. You of all people should understand. From inside the warehouse came a muffled cry. Daddy! Darius lunged forward. But Marcus pulled a gun, pressing it to Zarya's chest. One more step and she dies, Marcus warned. Darius froze. Good, Marcus said. Now hand me the bracelet. Zarya clutched it tighter. You'll never get what you want. Marcus cocked the gun. Try me. Darius's mind raced. He'd been in deals that turned violent before. But this was different. This was personal. He raised his hands slowly. You'll get the bracelet. Just let her go first. Do I look stupid? Marcus, listen to me. You don't know what that code really does. Oh, but I do, Marcus sneered. It's a genetic encryption. Her DNA opens the archive, my investors fund the sale, and I walk away a billionaire. Zarya's breath hitched. You'd sell a weapon that powerful? Power is just another currency, darling. You of all people should know what your mother died protecting. Suddenly, from the shadows, a figure moved. Carter stepped out, gun drawn. Zarya's heart skipped. Carter. His voice was calm but deadly. Drop it, Marcus. Marcus laughed. You finally grew a backbone? Carter didn't move. You played me too, remember? You made me think I was protecting the kid, but you were setting her up all along. Darius's eyes widened. You were working with him? Carter's jaw tightened. I was, until I realized who the enemy really was. He fired. The shot echoed across the docks. Marcus dropped to his knees, clutching his arm, the gun clattering away. Zarya gasped, covering her mouth. Darius rushed to the warehouse door, kicked it open, and found Amira tied to a chair, tears streaking her face. Daddy! He cut the ropes with trembling hands, pulling her into his chest. I got you, baby. I got you. Zarya stood frozen, relief and disbelief colliding inside her. Carter lowered his gun, breathing hard. We need to move. His people will be here any second. Darius looked at Zaria. Can you drive? She nodded. Get Amira to the car. I'll handle Marcus. Minutes later, they sped away from the docks, the night alive with sirens in the distance. Amira sat in the back seat, wrapped in a blanket, eyes wide with shock. Zaria glanced at Darius beside her, blood on his sleeve, jaw clenched, eyes hollow. You okay? She whispered. He exhaled shakily. I should have seen it coming. Marcus was like family. You can't blame yourself. Yes, I can. He looked at her, voice low. Everyone I let close either dies or betrays me. She reached over, touching his hand. Not everyone. He looked at her, and for a brief moment, the pain in his eyes softened. But the world didn't give them long to breathe. His phone buzzed again. Unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. What? A voice crackled through the line, cold, female, familiar. You think it's over, Darius? You think killing Marcus changes anything? Zaria's stomach dropped. Who is that? The voice continued. He was just a messenger. I'm the one your father was really afraid of. Darius's knuckles whitened around the phone. What do you want? The same thing your father wanted. Control of Phoenix. But I'm not after the file, Darius. Pause. I'm after her. The line went dead. Zaria's hand trembled. Who was that? Darius looked out the window, voice barely above a whisper. My stepmother. Zaria's blood ran cold. He turned to her slowly. And she's 10 times worse than Marcus ever was. That night, as they reached the safe house in the Georgia hills, Zaria stood at the window watching dawn rise over the trees. The world looked calm again, but her heart knew better. She thought of her mother's last words in that email. The key isn't what he thinks, it's a person. She looked down at the bracelet, tracing the engraving with her thumb. She wasn't just a link to the past, she was the lock. And now, everyone wanted to break her open. Behind her, Darius stood in the doorway, bruised, but unbroken. She won't stop, he said. I know. He stepped closer. Then neither can we. Zaria turned to face him. You think we can beat her? He looked her dead in the eye. I think we have to. For your mother. For Amira. For us. The word us lingered in the quiet like a promise and a curse. And as the sun broke over the horizon, painting the sky gold, Zaria realized that love wasn't her weakness anymore. It was her weapon. The safe house was perched high on a wooded ridge north of Atlanta, miles from anyone who might recognize the black Mercedes parked outside. By morning, mist crawled across the trees, hiding them from the world below. Inside, Zaria sat at the kitchen table, staring at the silver bracelet under the low hum of the refrigerator. It had once been a symbol of her mother's love. Now it felt like a curse. Darius walked in quietly, a mug of coffee in hand, his white t-shirt rumpled and dark circles under his eyes. He'd been up all night, trying to track the call. Anything? She asked. He shook his head. Whoever she is, she's careful. Voice masked, encrypted signal. She's playing this like a pro. She said your father was afraid of her, Zaria said, lifting her gaze. You think she's behind what happened to him too? He hesitated. If she is, then we're up against more than revenge. We're up against legacy. Amira shuffled into the room, wrapped in a blanket, eyes half open. Daddy, I had a bad dream. Darius set his coffee aside, kneeling beside her. You're safe, baby. I promise. Zaria's heart twisted. She saw how fiercely he loved his daughter, and how much that love was costing him. When Amira returned to her room, Darius turned to Zaria. You should go. You don't have to stay in this. She crossed her arms. You don't get to decide that. You almost died last night. And so did you. He ran a hand through his hair, voice breaking. Zarya. Everyone who gets close to me ends up broken. She stepped closer. Then maybe stop pushing me away and let me help you. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, he reached into his pocket, pulling out a folded photograph. It was old, faded. A woman, Zarya's mother, stood beside a younger Darius at a conference table, both smiling. Behind them, a banner read, "Phoenix, Future of Human Encryption." Zarya stared at it, stunned. "You work together?" He nodded. She was the lead engineer. I was the investor. But it was more than business. Her throat tightened. "You loved her?" "Yes." His voice was quiet, almost reverent. "And when she found out what I planned to use Phoenix for, she ran. Took the only copy of the access key with her. The bracelet." He nodded. "Your mother wasn't just protecting a file. She was protecting you." Zarya took a shaky breath. "So what am I to you, Darius? Her daughter? Or her unfinished project?" He looked at her, eyes dark and full of conflict. "You're the only person who can finish what she started." That night, Zarya couldn't sleep. The safe house was too quiet, too heavy with ghosts. She wandered outside, the woods glowing faintly under the moon. Every sound, every branch snap made her flinch. Then she heard it. A soft, electronic beep. She followed it to the base of a pine tree, found a black device half buried under leaves. A tracker. Her stomach dropped. "Darius!" she shouted, running back inside. He was already on his feet, gun drawn. "What is it?" She tossed the tracker on the table. "We've been compromised." He picked it up, expression grim. "They found us." The lights flickered. Then the power went out. Outside, the night exploded in headlights and boots on gravel. Men in black tactical gear closed in from every direction. Darius shoved Zarya toward the back door. "Get Amira. Take the forest trail. Don't stop." "What about you?" "I'll hold them off." "Darius, no." He caught her face in his hands, eyes fierce. "Zarya, listen to me. Don't let them win. Don't let them take what your mother died for." That was the first call to action, the moment the story snapped into motion again. Her heart pounded as she grabbed Amira's hand and ran out the back door, the night splitting open with gunfire. She could hear Darius shouting behind them, returning fire, his voice swallowed by chaos. They stumbled through the woods, branches slashing their skin, Amira crying softly. When they finally reached the road, a black SUV screeched to a halt in front of them. The door opened. Carter. "Get in." Zarya hesitated. "How did you find us?" "Tracked Marcus's burner phone. No time. Move." She climbed in, clutching Amira close. The car sped off, tires spitting gravel. Back at the house, Darius was outnumbered. Two men pinned him to the floor while another ripped open the laptop he'd been using to trace the call. A new voice echoed through the dark. A woman's voice. "I told you we'd meet again, Darius." He looked up, blood on his lip. She stepped out of the shadows, tall, elegant, dressed in black silk and gold earrings that glinted like fangs. Elaine Monroe, his late father's second wife. Darius's breath caught. "You." Elaine smiled. "Still handsome when you're losing." "You sent them?" "Please," she said, crouching beside him. "You didn't think Marcus was smart enough to run an operation like this, did you? He was my puppet." "Why?" "Because your father left everything to you," she said coldly. "And Phoenix was the one thing he could never control. So I decided to finish what he started." She brushed dust from his shirt. "But you complicated things, bringing her into this." Darius's jaw tightened. "If you hurt her..." Elaine's smile sharpened. "Relax. I don't need to hurt her, I just need her blood." She nodded to one of her men. "Bring me the bracelet." The man handed it over. She turned it over in her fingers, smiling. "Your father never understood the brilliance of this. He thought Phoenix was about power, but it's about legacy." She leaned closer. "And you, my dear stepson, are standing in the way of mine." Then she ordered, "Burn it." Flames roared as they torched the safe house, leaving Darius half-conscious on the ground. Miles away, Zaria watched the rising smoke from the car window, hands shaking. "Darius," she whispered. Carter's eyes flicked toward her. "We'll find him." She shook her head. "You don't know Elaine. She's worse than Marcus ever was." "Then we do this smart," he said. "We find what your mother hid, before she does." Zaria turned to him, fire in her eyes. "And if she already knows where it is?" Carter gave a grim smile. "Then we beat her to it." Hours later, as dawn broke again over the Georgia hills, they reached an old property deep in the woods, a cabin Zaria's mother used to own. Inside, dust covered everything, but the air felt alive. Zaria knelt by the old wooden floorboards, brushing away dirt until she found a tiny metal hatch. Inside it, a small drive lay sealed in a plastic bag, labeled in neat handwriting, "Phoenix, Final Sequence." Her breath caught. "This is it." Carter stepped closer. "Then, we just need to decode it." But Zaria didn't answer. Her mother's handwriting wasn't the only thing on the note. Below it, faintly scrawled in ink, was another message. "If Darius finds this, don't trust him." Zaria's pulse thundered in her ears. Her mother, her own mother, had warned her against him. Was it paranoia or truth? Carter watched her face. "What's wrong?" "Nothing," she lied, slipping the drive into her pocket. He narrowed his eyes. "You sure?" "Yeah. We should go." But as they walked out of the cabin, she looked back once, eyes burning with confusion, heartbreak, and rage. Because now she didn't know who the real enemy was. Smoke still drifted across the Georgia woods as Darius stumbled down the dirt road, his shirt scorched and blood soaking the sleeve of his arm. The safe house was gone. His phone, gone. Elaine thought she'd buried him in the fire, but she'd underestimated how much pain he could survive. He moved like a ghost until headlights swept across the trees. A black pickup slowed beside him. "Need a ride?" It was Reggie, one of his oldest friends, a former Marine turned mechanic. Darius climbed in, breathing hard. "I need a gun, a laptop, and a favor." Reggie smirked. "You always start your mornings like this?" "Not usually with murder attempts." They drove for miles until the reached Reggie's shop, Hermione, or a small garage on the edge of Decatur, smelling of oil and secrets. Inside, Darius stripped off his burnt shirt and wrapped his arm. Reggie handed him a phone. "This'll get you a signal, but whoever's chasing you, they'll find it fast." "That's fine," Darius said, typing coordinates. "I just need to find her before Elaine does." "Zaria?" He nodded once. Reggie gave a low whistle. "You caught feelings, didn't you?" Darius didn't look up. "She's the key, and Elaine knows it." Meanwhile, 60 miles north, Zaria sat in the cabin, staring at the flash drive in her hand. The note still echoed in her head. "If Darius finds this, don't trust him." Carter paced near the door. "We can't stay here. Elaine will track us." Zaria looked up. "We'll need a place she can't see, somewhere off-grid." He nodded. "There's an old relay bunker outside Dahlonega. My uncle used to run it during his time in the service. No signals in or out." "Good," she said. But Carter could see her distance, the quiet storm in her eyes. "You don't believe what that note said, do you?" Zaria hesitated. "I don't know. My mother never lied to me." Carter's voice softened. "Maybe she didn't know him like you do." "Or maybe," Zaria said, I don't know him at all. That evening, thunder rolled across the hills. Zarya and Carter reached the bunker, an old concrete shelter buried under vines. Inside, the air was cold, heavy, and damp. Carter set up a generator while Zarya plugged the drive into an old laptop. A prompt appeared immediately. Enter authorization DNA. Zarya bit her lip. It's asking for a blood match. Carter hesitated. That's not good. She pricked her finger with a needle, pressed it to the sensor. The screen flashed green. Then, lines of code streamed across the monitor. A hidden folder opened. Phoenix, sequence final. But what appeared wasn't what she expected. It wasn't a weapon. It was a database. Thousands of files. Names, medical records, genetic profiles. All marked Monroe Foundation trials. Zarya's voice cracked. My mother didn't build Phoenix for encryption. Carter frowned. Then what is it? It's a map, she whispered. A map of every person they experimented on. Her blood ran cold as she scrolled. The list went back 20 years. And there, near the top, Darius Monroe. Her breath stopped. Carter leaned in. What the hell? She didn't just love him, Zarya said, voice trembling. She created him. Back in Decatur, Darius sat in Reggie's garage, staring at his reflection in a cracked mirror. Elaine's words came back to him. Your father never understood the brilliance of this. He'd always assumed Phoenix was his father's research project. But what if Elaine was right? What if he'd been part of the experiment all along? He grabbed the phone and called an old contact in D.C. A woman named Dr. Nyla Brooks, one of the original Phoenix engineers. Nyla, it's Darius. Her voice was tight. You shouldn't be calling me. You're supposed to be dead. Elaine tried. I need to know, what was I? A long silence. Then, quietly, you were the prototype, Darius. The first test subject. Your DNA was designed to merge with Phoenix's core system. That's why your father built the company around you. He froze. And Zarya? She's the failsafe. Her mother built her to be the only person who could stop you, if you ever activated the code. Darius's heart crashed against his ribs. Everything, his empire, his success, had been built on a lie. The air had grown still. Zarya stood, staring at the monitor, tears streaking her face. Her mother's research wasn't about protection. It was about control. Phoenix could rewrite DNA. It could reprogram people. That's why they wanted it back. She turned to Carter. If he's the prototype, and I'm the failsafe, then the whole system only works when you're together, he said. Zarya's chest tightened. Which means, if I destroy it, I destroy him too. Before she could speak again, headlights flashed through the cracks in the bunker door. Carter grabbed his gun. We're out of time. Zarya unplugged the drive and shoved it into her jacket. Let's go. They crept through the back exit into the trees, rain pouring around them. A voice cut through the storm. Zarya. She froze. It was Darius. He stepped from the trees, soaked, bleeding, eyes wild with relief. You're alive, she breathed. He moved toward her, but Carter raised his gun. Stay right there, Darius glared. Put it down, soldier. You don't know what's at stake. I know enough, Carter said. She's not your key anymore. Zarya's heart pounded. Stop it, both of you! Darius turned to her. Zarya, listen to me. Elaine's going to use that file to finish what my father started. You can't let her. She pulled the drive from her pocket, her hand shaking. Then, tell me why your name is in it. Darius froze. You saw that? I saw everything. Her voice broke. She didn't build Phoenix to protect you. She built it from you. He stepped closer. You think I knew? You think I wanted this? Tell me the truth. He took a breath. I was part of the experiment, yes. But I didn't know until last night. Elaine's been pulling the strings since my father died. Her eyes glistened. And me? What am I to you, Darius? He met her gaze. You're the only person who can end this. And the only person I... Before he could finish, a shot rang out. Carter dropped to the ground. Zarya screamed. Elaine stepped from the trees, holding a silenced pistol, her men fanning out behind her. Touching reunion, she said, eyes cold. But it ends here. Darius lunged at her, but her men tackled him to the mud. Elaine aimed her gun at Zarya. Give me the drive, sweetheart. Zarya clutched it tighter. No. Elaine smiled faintly. You're just like your mother, stubborn to the end. Darius struggled against the men. Don't do it, Zarya. Elaine fired a warning shot past her ear. Last chance. Zarya raised her chin, tears cutting through the rain. You'll have to kill me first. Elaine's finger tightened on the trigger. Then a blinding flash erupted from the ground. Carter, bleeding but alive, had detonated a smoke grenade from his belt. Run! He yelled. Zarya grabbed Darius's hand, pulling him free as the air filled with smoke and shouting. They sprinted into the forest, hearts pounding, leaving Elaine's screams echoing behind them. They didn't stop until dawn. They reached an old, abandoned church on the outskirts of Gainesville, collapsing inside. Darius leaned against the wall, bloodied and exhausted. Zarya sat across from him. The drive clutched to her chest. What now? She whispered. He looked up, eyes hollow. We end it. Phoenix, Elaine, all of it. She hesitated. And us? He met her eyes, haunted, tender, broken. That depends on what you do next. Outside, the first light of morning spilled through the cracked, stained glass, coloring the room in fractured reds and golds. Zarya rose, stepping close, her voice trembling. Then tell me how to stop this. Darius reached into his pocket, pulling out a small chip. This is the core command key. Insert it into the drive, and it'll erase everything, including me. Her eyes widened. What? My DNA runs through the system. If you destroy it, it'll trigger the failsafe in me. That's how your mother built it. Zarya shook her head. No, I can't. You have to. He grabbed her hands. If Elaine gets it, she'll rewrite humanity. Do you hear me? She'll own people's genes. Tears streamed down her face. There has to be another way. There isn't. He cupped her face gently. If you ever loved me, Zarya, do this. The rain outside stopped. The church was silent except for her heartbeat. Zarya looked down at the chip, then at him. Darius, she whispered, voice breaking. Don't make me choose between saving the world and losing you. He smiled softly. Then don't think of it as losing me. Think of it as finishing what your mother started. She closed her eyes. The air trembled. And when she opened them again, her tears were gone. Only morning filtered through the cracked, stained glass, bleeding color across the pews like bruises of light. Zarya sat on the church floor, the Phoenix drive resting in her lap. The tiny chip Darius had given her trembling in her hand. Outside, the world was still. The storm had passed. But inside her chest, a new one was just beginning. Darius leaned against the altar, his breathing shallow. His shirt was torn, blood crusted at his shoulder. She won't stop, he said quietly. Elaine doesn't lose. Zarya looked up. Then, neither do we. He gave a faint smile. That sounds like something your mother would say. I'm starting to think she left more of herself in me than I realized. A silence settled between them, thick, heavy, and tender. Then Darius said, "You should know something before you do this." What? When your mother left Phoenix, I begged her to stay. I told her I'd shut it all down, but she didn't believe me. She thought I'd already sold out to my father's investors. Zarya frowned. Did you? He looked away. I wanted to, but I couldn't. Not after I realized what it could do. I wasn't protecting the project. I was protecting you. Her throat tightened. Me? Your mother was already pregnant when she vanished. I didn't know until months later. She froze. You're saying... Yes. His eyes glistened. I'm not just the prototype, Zarya. I'm your father. The world tilted. The sound of her heartbeat drowned everything else. She stumbled back, shaking her head. No, that's not possible. It's the truth, Darius said softly. Elaine used my DNA to build Phoenix. Your mother used it to build you. That's why you can control it. Zarya's voice trembled. You said you loved me. I do, he whispered, pain slicing through his voice. But not the way I should have. Her tears fell silently. You lied to me. I didn't know when we met, he said, desperate. Not until the data from Neela came through. By the time I understood, she stepped away, trembling. You should have told me the moment you did. I wanted to, but I needed you to finish it first. If I'd told you, you would have run. I should have, she said bitterly. A sound echoed outside, the crunch of gravel under boots. Elaine. Darius turned toward the door, his jaw hardening. She's here. Zarya wiped her tears, rage slowly replacing grief. Then, let her come. Moments later, the door burst open. Elaine stepped in, gun raised, flanked by armed guards. She looked almost regal, her hair perfectly styled, her black coat glinting with rain. Well, she said, her voice smooth as silk. Family reunions are always so emotional. Zarya's eyes flared. You twisted everything. I perfected it, Elaine corrected. Your mother wanted to protect humanity. I wanted to improve it. You mean control it? Elaine smirked. Control is just another word for order, dear. Darius stepped between them. This ends now, Elaine. Still trying to play the hero? She said, lowering her gun. Don't you get it? You were never the hero. You were the test. He glared at her. And you're the failure. Before she could react, he lunged, grabbing the gun from her hand and knocking her backward. Her guards opened fire. Zarya dove behind a pew, clutching the drive. Bullets tore through the wood, splinters raining like hail. Darius fought like a man with nothing left to lose. Every punch raw, every breath heavy. He disarmed one guard, slammed another into the wall, then turned. A gunshot split the air. He staggered, a dark bloom spreading across his chest. Darius! Zarya screamed. Elaine smiled, clutching a second pistol. He always did have a weakness for drama. Zarya crawled toward him, ignoring the chaos. Stay with me. He coughed, blood at the corner of his mouth. Finish it, Zarya. I can't. You can. His hand found hers, pressing the chip into her palm. Do it for her. For me. Tears blurred her vision. Please don't make me. Promise me, he whispered. She shook her head. I can't lose you. His eyes softened. You already did. A long time ago. Elaine's voice cut through the church. Give me the drive, girl, or I'll burn this place down with you in it. Zarya rose slowly, her grief turning into something colder, stronger. You want it? She said. Take it. She lifted the drive and the chip together, snapping them into the laptop's port. The screen glowed, then lines of red code raced across it. Elaine's smirk faltered. What are you doing? Ending it. Don't. Too late. A pulse of white light exploded from the device, blinding and soundless. The walls shook, dust falling like snow. The gunfire stopped. When the light faded, the laptop smoked quietly. The Phoenix files, every last one, were gone. Elaine stood trembling, staring at the blank screen. You fool! Do you have any idea what you've destroyed? Zaria's eyes met hers. Yes, everything you ever loved. Elaine raised her gun, but before she could fire, Carter appeared at the back door, half limping, half running. He shot once. Elaine fell. The silence that followed was deafening. Zaria turned back to Darius. He was pale, his breathing shallow. It's gone, she whispered. Phoenix is gone. He smiled faintly. Good. She pressed a hand against his wound, tears spilling again. You're gonna be okay. He shook his head. No, it's already in me. When you erased Phoenix, it erased the part that kept me alive. Stop talking, she cried. We can fix this. He touched her cheek weakly. You did fix it. You made it right. His hand fell away, his eyes dimming like the last light before dawn. Zaria collapsed against him, sobbing. Please don't leave me. But he was already gone. Outside, the rain had stopped completely. The world felt quiet, cleansed. Carter knelt beside her, his own eyes damp. Zaria, we need to go. She didn't answer at first. Then she nodded slowly, laying Darius's hand gently across his chest. They left the church together as morning broke over the horizon. Weeks later, Atlanta buzzed with its usual rhythm. Sirens, traffic, life moving on. Zaria walked down Peachtree Street wearing sunglasses, her hair shorter now, her face unreadable. She carried no bracelet, no code, no secrets. But inside her pocket was a small broken chip, the only fragment of Phoenix left. Carter joined her at the corner cafe. They found Elaine's body. No sign of her files. You really wiped it all. Zaria nodded. Good. He hesitated. You could start again, you know. Use Phoenix for what it was meant to be. She shook her head. Some things shouldn't be rebuilt. Carter leaned back, studying her. And what about you? What now? Zaria looked up at the skyline, sunlight glinting off glass towers. I live, that's enough. He smiled faintly. He'd like that. She didn't reply. As she walked away, she felt the wind shift, soft, familiar, almost like a whisper. Darius's voice in her mind. Don't let them win. She closed her eyes for a moment, letting the warmth of the sun settle on her face. Love had cost her everything, but it had also given her back her soul. And that, she realized, was the only victory that mattered.